Just how important is the crime scene in determining the personality of a predatory offender? Research would suggest that it's as important as the initial contact site and the disposal site. And holy cow, those are really important. In fact, crime scenes will tell us more about the offender than perpetrators would ever like us to know. So let's take a minute and examine crime scenes a little bit more carefully. Welcome to Profiling Evil. If you're new to our channel, thanks for joining. And if you're one of my university students or a longtime channel member, welcome back. Thanks for all your support. And either way, take a moment, hit that like and the subscribe button, and ring the bell so that you get all of our informative videos like this one. Now let's talk profiling. Recently, a Lamar County, Georgia road crew member found Malik DeAnthony's body in the trees off of Possum Trot Road. And immediately the surrounding community wondered why the 23-year-old man was killed there. Well, it wouldn't take long for investigators to announce his murder actually happened somewhere else. And this leads us to the next principle that I want to explore: crime scenes. When a crime occurs, there can be multiple locations worth examining. Each has its own peculiarities and insights. And while a crime can occur in one location, it's important for investigators to consider three different types of crime scenes. They are the initial contact site, the actual crime scene, and the disposal site. In this real life story that I mentioned, police knew the location where DeAnthony's body was recovered, the disposal site. But it's possible that that location is the same place where the victim and the perpetrator came into contact with each other. But public released information would suggest that this really wasn't the case. Let's talk about those locations and how they're associated with crime scenes. The first location that we want to explore is the initial contact site. This is the place where the victim and the predator first come into contact with each other. Now, the victim may be unaware that this initial contact has even occurred, but the predator knows that they've come into contact, and the predator, in their wacky mind, has created some sort of relationship. Now, depending on the dynamics of the location, this can help us understand who the predator is and who the victim is. By way of example, let's say that a victim and a predator meet each other in a legitimate circumstance, such as at a bar, for instance. The relationship may develop jointly or individually, but the initial contact has occurred inside of this regular establishment. Now, let's assume that this mutually agreeable situation progresses and the soon to be victim and predator leave the bar to find some place to be alone. Once at this new location, the predator commits the assault. That location is different. It's considered the crime scene, and it's very significant in and of itself. It really helps us understand more about the predator and the victim. It causes us to ask questions such as, why was this location chosen by the victim or the predator? Why? Why did the victim go there alone if they did after the initial meeting and the predator surveilled and followed them? Something like traveling home to their apartment and the predator followed them. Now, regardless, it's a location that provides a great deal of behavioral information. Now, let's say that the offender, after assaulting or murdering his victim, decides that the crime scene is just too identifiable for comfort. Perhaps it's in an area where the victim could be easily discovered. So the offender decides to take the victim and dispose of them or their body in a different location that makes it more difficult for someone to discover them or to find the predator. This area is called the disposal site. So we've talked about the three: the initial contact site, the place where they came together, The crime scene, the place where the physical crime occurs, and there actually could be several, and the disposal site. Now, close examination should be given to all three of these areas, keeping in mind that there could be multiple crime scenes. While multiple crime scenes are possible, we generally only see one initial contact site and only one disposal site. Now, there are exceptions to these situations where there might be multiple victims dropped in multiple locations or cases where evidence is disposed at multiple sites. When considering the contact site, crime scene, and or disposal site, it is necessary to determine where the victim was last seen. As we examine these locations, it helps us develop theories on any relationships that might exist between the victim and the offender. Why is an offender comfortable to commit an assault in a certain area? Remember, they want to be successful. They're only picking that area because they believe they can get away with their crime there. Now, as we examine this kind of information, it'll help us answer other questions that we may not initially have thought of. Closer examination of these three types of crime scenes can also help us determine the level of planning and preparation, as well as whether this offender was organized or disorganized. Well, I hope this was helpful, and we'll chat again soon. And frankly, since we're talking organization levels, let's chat next time on the theory of organized and disorganized criminals. I hope you'll consider clicking the like and the subscribe button and ring the bell so that you get all of our videos. Thanks so much for supporting and subscribing to Profiling Evil. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, as well as your favorite podcast platforms. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon at the next crime scene.